Good evening, YouTube. Tire Metalhead Weatherman here. Hopefully, you guys are all doing well on this Friday. Finally, at the end of the week. This felt like a week that would never end on my part, mainly because of work and also the very active weather situation we had going on this week. That being said, though, we finally made it, and we're gonna take a look at the rest of our weekend to celebrate. While things have calmed down slightly, there's still areas that are being affected, mainly towards the west where we have the atmospheric river issue that is still ongoing. And hopefully, at some point, we can get an end to that, because a lot of people have been displaced by a very unfortunate situation that has developed there. So let's go ahead and touch up on all these areas. I'm going to go more in depth with what to expect over out west and really over the country as a whole in tomorrow afternoon's video. So look forward to that. That being said, let's take a look at what's in the now and for the next couple of days. So the latest NAM is about to probably start coming in, so these temperatures are a tad bit off, but this is probably about the current time that we're looking at right now. Towards the southeast, the temperature has been dropping all day. Some places have been getting reports of snow, sleet, and maybe some moderate snow over towards these areas. Most of the snow has actually been coming in the form of little tiny bands, or wintry precipitation, I should say. Has been coming in the form of small moisture bands that are coming from the Great Lakes, which is pretty interesting and also relatively rare. And usually with this kind of setup, we'll end up seeing bigger snow if the system was strong enough to really amplify that, but that is not the case. Which is good because even though it's cold, at least it'll warm back up and there'll be a chance for some quick cleanup because there might be more active times ahead here. Again, that will be in tomorrow's video. So we'll roll this forward here. And temperatures are going to dip below freezing for a lot of areas in the southeast as we head into 7 a.m. in the morning. Very frigid temperatures around the eastern half of the country. Over towards the west, we're starting to warm up just a little bit here, but this is not really changing too much there right now, unfortunately. The rain and snow situation is the biggest deal, and really temperatures right now are just irrelevant because the storm system is just continually crashing there. And then as we drag this forward, Saturday looks like a frigid day for the eastern half of the country, and really just a frigid weekend in general. And it's really not until later into next week, I'd say maybe the early half of next week, where we'll start to warm back up here. Here we are heading into Monday, and the temperatures are still going to be pretty frigid around the eastern half, and then that cold air will start to build back westward and more than likely set the stage for our next event. But that's what we have going on here. Now, another thing to note, especially with that last storm system that I didn't really go into, is just the sheer wind energy that was with it, associated with it. So, as we go forward, the winds are going to be dying off in the eastern half of the country, but we want to keep an eye out west. So, we do still get occasional gusts where we're getting above 20 to 30 miles an hour in the southeast, but come morning, these will start to die out. But out west, especially towards the valleys around the Sierra Nevada, we're getting high winds once again, gust up to about 40 plus miles an hour in a lot of regions. And we'll have to watch the west coast too, because there's some gusts offshore that are hitting about 50 plus miles an hour even. So we'll watch as time goes on, and then these gusts will eventually start to crash inland. And while they will lose a little bit of its intensity, it's not going to be by much. And then we'll have to watch towards the central half of the country and towards maybe the Mississippi River region for some increased wind gusts throughout the weekend. So not only will it be cold in some of these regions here, but it'll also be a little bit blustery as well, which will make for uncomfortable conditions. Hopefully you're bundled up pretty well around these regions. And then also, of course, we'll have to watch towards the desert southwest for increased winds. But it'll be a little bit warmer here. If there's any solace to be had there, that's definitely it for sure. Still, it's annoying to have winds that high. Stuff likes to blow around, especially if stuff in the front yard. But we'll head into the evening hours and into the morning hours of Sunday. That wind field definitely starts to expand as we look towards Monday morning. It's going to especially be prevalent around parts of the Midwest and Southern Plains. We're looking at areas like Kansas, Oklahoma, and even some parts of Texas getting gusts above 40 miles an hour at this time, according to the NAM. Then, of course, when we look out west, rivers still coming in. You can almost see the shape of this next bomb cyclone coming in, just as I go back and then move this forward once more. So these guys have just been getting it so bad, and I hate it for you guys. If there's any way, if anyone in my audience has the means to do so, I would definitely encourage trying to donate to some of these guys out here, because they've been roughing it and things don't seem like they're done yet here. So if you can, I encourage you to help these guys out. Wish I had the funds. I really don't right now, honestly. I'm just getting by myself. But anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at the precip here as time goes on, because that's going to be a key topic around the western half of the country. Towards the east, things are going to be pretty quiet, especially over towards the northeast as that system moves out. A few little isolated snow squalls are possible throughout the evening tonight, but after that, I think a lot of that moisture is going to be diminishing, and we're going to be dealing with high pressure, meaning a little bit calmer weather. So this is our next system that comes in over here. This could have some snow over towards the northwestern regions of the U.S. And then we have to watch this region over here in the not in the Great Lakes. Wow, I got things badly mixed up. But over towards the Rockies and parts of the northern tier of the desert southwest for some moderate to heavy snow as time goes on. We'll get into the totals in just a little bit. And then here comes our next piece of energy, our next part of this atmospheric river. Just slamming into the coast of California here, bringing abundant showers, thunderstorms, and even a little bit of snow towards the higher elevations. Meanwhile, this storm starts to get its act together pretty well. Becomes a sub 1,000 millibar storm, and there's plenty of snow on the backside that makes its way past the Rockies. So we'll have to watch and see what this does over the Midwest, because this has an interesting look here. There's a little battle zone here where we could see a little bit of wintry precip, maybe even some ice possible here. So we'll have to watch towards Nebraska and parts of South Dakota. These guys got hit just before the new year, just after it actually. So familiar territory for you guys, but we'll keep an eye on you in case this gets any worse. So let's go ahead and start making some comparisons real quick here. I was going to originally start out with snow, but I'm thinking we're going to actually go ahead and take a look at the rain, because that's honestly just as important, if anything. So here we are. We will begin looking more so towards the Euro first. And of course, the greatest totals are all going to be out west, so this is going to make this a little quicker. I'll go by a little faster. But we can see that we have plenty of areas where we can get up to about 4 inches plus. Locally higher amounts are honestly likely throughout the weekend. And this is mainly going to be centered around the California coast. Sneaks its way into Oregon as well. But that's pretty much the main deal with that based off the Euro. Canadian has a very similar look, although it looks like the totals are a little bit further inland, especially towards Northern California. That really seems to be the bullseye in this situation. This also goes up a little. This swath of rain above 4 inches or more goes a little bit further north too. And the totals are a bit more intense as well. Some areas could even see up to 6 inches according to the Canadian model. We go to the GFS. A little bit more passive, which is good news. Let's hope that trend holds. NAM is a little bit more like the GFS. The 3 kilometer NAM is a little bit more in depth, a little bit more high resolution, and we're seeing a swath here where that rain is a little bit more intense, mainly towards Northern California. And the further we get north and into inland, I'd say there's still potential for some significant rainfall, but not nearly to the extent here. But Even so, with as much rain as pretty much the entire West Coast has been getting, it's not going to take much to cause problems. Mainly flooding, but there also could be other issues to be had with that. So here's the blend of models, and it's very aggressive in its own right. So we're still looking at 4 inches plus for a lot of regions towards Northern California. And then 6 inches or more is still possible in isolated locations. We'll have to see if this uptrends or downtrends throughout the weekend. And that's pretty much all we got for the rain. Let's switch this back over to snow. So, of course, the heaviest snowfall is still going to be around the Sierra Nevadas. Ridiculous totals expected. With just the amount of moisture and the cold air that's set in place around here, it's honestly inevitable. But interestingly enough, with this system, the trek has the southern end of the Sierra Nevadas getting the highest totals this time around. A lot of the times it's been towards the north or north central part of the mountain range. Now we're getting more towards the southern part here. Still expecting areas where we could see almost up to 5 feet, maybe even more than that. So it's going to be a record start to the year as far as snowfall is concerned. It might be enough to make up for about a couple of years around here, because this area has been hit extremely hard with drought over the last 5 years or so. So while it's good to see this, the fact that it's happening all at once is the real issue. Then as we look towards the Rockies, of course, we're getting a similar story. While not with the same intensity, we still can see plenty of areas where we're getting up to about a foot or more of snow. Once we head out west, those snowfall totals start to diminish. And we're looking at maybe some areas where we're looking at just a little bit over an inch, especially towards areas like Denver. And then areas towards central and eastern Wyoming, we could see about an inch or two there as well. And the further out to the east we get, it's a little bit more of a question mark, and probably we're going to have to look towards more of the interior of next week to see what happens around this region. Of course, when we look towards the eastern half of the country, the mountainous ranges are what are likely to get the most snow, mostly an inch or two from these little snow squall bands that are coming in from the Great Lakes, especially around Lake Michigan. There's a little swath around here towards eastern Ohio and West Virginia where we're looking to get probably about an inch or so from the valleys here. And then, of course, off the Great Lakes towards Ontario and Erie here, we can see about an inch or so there. And then there might be little scattered areas where we see about a trace. Towards the southeast, I know you've been probably seeing a few flurries flying around here and there. I hate to tell you, don't get too excited if you're looking for snow, because it's really just it's just sightseeing. It's just a show. It's just a little quick show for you. In this case, I don't see any accumulations happening for you guys. And this is based off the Euro, but a lot of the models here are going to be pretty well in agreement at this point. See, all the models are pretty much in agreement, especially for that situation over towards the southern half of the Sierras especially. Not to say that the northern can't get big snow, and it will get big snow, but it looks like the southern Sierras are going to be the big winner in this one. And pretty much all of the models show the exact same thing. So now that we've looked at that, and there really isn't much of an ice threat with anything right now, we're probably going to save that for the video later into the weekend as we look towards next week. We'll look at the blend of models here, and it's a pretty similar look. In fact, I think we already looked through the blend of models. I might have made a mistake here. But, well, I guess we'll go over it one more time. It's pretty similar still, although the ratio on this one is 10-1 versus the Cucchiera model, which I like a little bit better because it's more variable. But still, similar look. Ohio Valley, a lot of places are seeing a trace of snow. Only in the mountain ranges where the snowfall totals are likely to be a little higher. Snow doesn't really make it too far west of the Rockies. There's a few mountain ranges out west or out towards the southwest that are likely to get some higher snowfall totals. Some of them pretty significant as well, where we're looking at above 6 inches plus of snow. Towards southern Sierras, we already know the story there. And pretty much through the rest of the mountain ranges around the northwest seem like they're going to be getting another healthy dose of snow, or maybe unhealthy at this point, because we might be getting to a point where it's too much. And avalanches might become a concern. But that's all I got for this video. These weekend forecasts has been getting pretty long, mainly due to the atmospheric rivers here. But this is what I'm here for. I don't mind doing this in the slightest. I'll keep covering this as long as it's needed. But until the next video, which will probably be tomorrow afternoon, this has been Tire Metalhead Weatherman. I hope you enjoyed these videos. If you do, of course, like, subscribe, share the videos. Hoping to get the 300 subs by March. And, of course, you have a good weekend. I will see you soon. Have a good night.